on most possessions, they get one of those two things, and that's what's led to their success. You had said, you talked about veterans and retaining that team cohesion. That leads perfectly into my next question. In the age of NIL, how has Steele's culture played a role in retaining this team? Because from last year's roster that went to the MAC championship game, couldn't quite get it over the line, it's almost the exact same. A few changes, but not many. So how do you think that Coach Steele's culture has been able to influence his players into staying and committing to the mission?
Well, I think it's a credit to the school also. Miami's a wonderful place. When I was there, I didn't want to leave, seeing other campuses, just getting entrenched in campus life, making friends, experiencing the seasons. Just, you feel like you just belong when you're on that campus going to college there. That's what you dream college to be like as a kid. And that experience was just awesome. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of those players love being on campus. They love being a part of a culture. Academically, it's a great academic school also. So, that was very important to me, and I'm sure it's very important to these players also. And then along with, you trust your coach. I mean, in the day and age of college basketball, coaches are in a tough spot because players can just jump around from school to school, from year to year, and you don't know if the coach is going to have your best interest in your career in mind. And that's something that Travis has been very open and honest with his players. When I recruit you out of high school, that means I believe in you. I'm going to develop you and make you the best possible basketball player that you can be individually. And as a result, all the guys look around, they work against each other, they work out together in the gym and the weight room. They go through individual instruction, they practice year-round together, and they see each other's improvement, and they make each other better. And they see how much the coaching staff has individually improved their overall game, which is going to set them up to play professionally somewhere also when they do graduate college. And that's one thing that I think is overlooked, the fact that Travis is making his players the best possible players they can be for the rest of their lives. And I think when you jump around from school to school, sometimes you don't get the promises that you were promised as far as playing time, as far as development, as far as gaining your confidence, improving on your confidence, working on your weaknesses and improving your strengths and stuff like that. So, you look at a guy like Kraft, from last year, the games that he had, how important he was to the team. He went off to Georgia Tech. I mean, he's playing a little bit, but he's not a big role on that team. I think maybe he's coming off the bench. Maybe he's averaging 6-7 points a game, something like that. He did get paid, quite a bit of money, so you can't second guess that for him doing that. But overall, I just think you sacrifice some of the enjoyment of going to play college basketball when you do bounce around if you end up in a situation that maybe you don't get everything that you were promised when you went into the transfer portal in both schools.
Right, I agree. I think I saw a quote from Ian Elmer on the RedHawks Instagram page saying the grass isn't always greener, and that's why he decided to stay.
I saw that. Yep.
It's that same mentality that exactly what you were just talking about, that it's not always going to be better just because there's a little more money on the other side or just because the school is a bigger name.
Right.
Okay.
Do you know
speaking
what
of
Kraft
that,
is doing? I could look up his stats over at Georgia Tech.
I'm not sure, but I think that you're right. He's averaging single digits and playing solid minutes for them, but that the mentality still holds true. It's not always going to be greener on the other side.
Right.
All right. Two more questions for you here. Last year, the team came to a bit of a disappointing end with that close loss in the MAC championship game to Akron. And you being on a team that had a significant amount of tournament success, how can this team take that feeling of that loss and prolong it into not only a run in the MAC conference tournament, but a run in the Big Dance?
Well, that was a heartbreaking loss. I watched that whole entire game. I was on the edge of my couch. I thought the team played really well. I mean, you make 14 threes and shoot at a high percentage the way they did. You ran into a really good Akron team with a pro on the other side that in the end was the difference. It came down to one possession, one rebound. So you got to use that as fuel. You got to use that as motivation. And it's not going to be easy. You know, right now, Miami is doing everything to put themselves in position to make it to the NCAA tournament. And I'm a firm believer that every day when you set foot on a campus in a school, when you have a continuity of a program that is together behind your leader and your coach, in the end, you're going to be rewarded with a little luck to achieve your goals. And that's what I'm hoping happens for this Miami team. They've all been together. They've all done it right. They play the right way. They're setting themselves up for success. There is a possibility that maybe they could get their resume to the point where if they do not win the MAC tournament championship, they could get an at-large bid like we did in '99. You know, that's still to be determined. There's a lot of work to do. But it's a lot of pressure on one-bid leagues and mid-major teams to win their MAC tournament championship. And there are some good teams out there still in Akron, Kent, Buffalo, Ohio. You know, those are storied programs that have great coaches. And in a one-game situation, a single elimination in a MAC tournament style, anything can happen. So the team has to be completely locked in. I know the coaching staff will have all the guys ready. And you got to just go out there and, you know, play like, you know, it's a win or go home situation. There's no alternative than just figuring out a way to win that MAC tournament championship. And I think this team is built to do that. And with the way they play in the clutch in the last couple games, they are built to win that tournament. And I'm excited to see if they can do it.
They certainly do have a winner's mentality, as we saw Coach Steele in that interview last week or maybe the week before, saying even though their schedule has not been the most rigorous, they are still 19-0. You still have to win those games. Now, of course, getting to 20-0, looking to make it 21 tonight against the UMass Minutemen. But either way, you do have to win those games. You have to perform those clutch moments. Even earlier in the season, in the games against Mercyhurst and UNC Asheville, those games got close, but they were able to stick it out and get the win in both of those. Last question for you here, Wally. This program has a bunch of very, very good players that still do have years of eligibility left, those being examples Luke Skaljak, Eben Psaro, and Trey Perry. So when big teams inevitably do come calling for their signatures and have them wear their colors, how can this program prolong their success even if they do lose some guys in the portal this coming offseason?
Well, I know Travis is a master recruiter, and he's going to continue to build through recruiting the Ohio area and the area around Miami. He's done a really good job of finding great players and developing them. I know David Saylor and all the athletic director is trying to do anything and everything to raise as much money to keep players. You know, that's the landscape of college basketball and college football.
All right, back here courtside in Millett Hall.
Folks, we apologize for the technical difficulties with the interview. It got cut off a little bit early. Not sure what happened there, but still very thankful for Mr. Zerbiak for allowing us to interview him. We hope that was a fun treat for you all, and we hope the rest of the athletic department is able to make good use of that as we get just about 7 minutes until tip-off. Going to do a few final thoughts and then a prediction. Gavin, what do you got for us? Any final words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the Minutemen, we talked about it earlier in the show. You know, this team's going to come in and try to slow the game down and play their style of basketball inside of the away arena and
It's a week that is as important as ever for the Miami men's basketball team. A couple of near-capacity crowds expected between tonight and coming up on Saturday. The RedHawks look to stay unbeaten. They've jumped a spot in the polls. They're up to 24 in the AP's top 25, and they look to improve to 21-0 and 9-0 in the Mid-American Conference against a team making its maiden voyage as a MAC squad. The UMass Minutemen struggled to start this year in the Mid-American Conference, but they've won 4 of 5. They're playing as well as they have at any other point throughout the season. Luke Westpoli, Andrew Relvis with you, and Andrew, looking around, I mean, there are very few people that are alive that have seen this place be this crowded and seen this place get this excited. Everybody's taking out the flashlights. They dim the lights as they get set to announce Miami's starting lineup. But for this RedHawk team, this is hype that's well-deserved. Obviously, you haven't lost a game yet this year, but as great as all the sunshine and rainbows are, Miami's shown some glaring issues over the last couple of games, namely on the defensive end of the floor, and they have needed some late-game heroics to get out of it with a couple of overtime wins.
Yeah, I was on site in Kent and obviously saw that Buffalo game here at home. That was one of the most exciting games in Millett Hall history, but it's really been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde show for the RedHawks. They start off super strong, but kind of lapse a little bit defensively in the second half. So hopefully in this game, it's all business for the RedHawks, and they can silence these UMass Minutemen, who are a physical bunch, just like the Kent State Golden Flashes, who we saw last game.
UMass coming over from the Atlantic 10, 12-20 last season, 7-11 in the conference. Again, this is year one in the MAC, but a guy that knows how to get it done in the world of college basketball. They're coached by Frank Martin, who took Kansas State to the Elite Eight and took South Carolina to the Final Four before ultimately ending up with these UMass Minutemen. However, this is a program that, although it's one of college basketball's traditional powers, has fallen on some hard times. They haven't made the NCAA tournament in about 30 years. Little-known coach who brought them to their last NCAA tournament. You might have heard of him. His name is John Calipari, who, of course, spent a long time at Memphis, Kentucky, and is now at Arkansas. On the RedHawks side of things, there is one change to Travis Steele's starting lineup, and Luke Skaljak is not dressed tonight for Miami. And what does that mean in a position that was already the thinnest for Miami because of the injury to Evan Ipsaro? Justin Kirby, who had his red shirt pulled just 7 games ago, is set to make his first career start. The rest of the lineup remains unchanged for Travis Steele's team. Ian Elmer, Antoine Woolfolk, Brant Byers, and Pete Suter in there. And again, the freshman out of Fishers, Indiana, Justin Kirby makes his first career start for Miami. For UMass, this is a team that has largely stayed healthy throughout the season. They've only made a couple of tweaks to the starting lineup. And again, this squad is playing well as of late. UMass is coming off back-to-back wins over Toledo and Buffalo, the latter coming on the road. And Frank Martin sends out a starting 5 of Marcus Banks, Jaden Jingay, Leonardo Bettiol, Daniel Hawkins, Hankins Sanford, and Danny Carbuccia to start this game. The crowd rises to their feet. It's a pajama jam inside Millett Hall. Thanks so much for being with us. Luke Westpoli, Andrew Relvis, Jake Ciroli, and Gavin Stark also here alongside as part of our RedHawk radio crew. 9 Eastern tip, late night on ESPNU, and the crowd up to their feet. Alfred Smith is our referee tonight, the same referee as the 2025 Mid-American Conference Championship game up in Cleveland, and this is arguably the biggest game for Miami since. Jordan Love and Kevin Raher round out the officiating crew. Two centers set to draw swords. Ball is up in the air. Antoine Woolfolk wins the tip-off back away from Daniel Hankins Sanford, and we are underway. Miami enters as the best offense in the country by not only field goal percentage, but also points per game at nearly 95. Again, playing without Luke Skaljak, and to start, it's Pete Suter from up top. Races down the right side, heads down the alley. It's deflected. It comes off his leg, and it's out of bounds. And that's a big stop for UMass to begin this game here on the road 20 seconds in.
Yeah, crowd's going to play a big factor, and they get an easy first stop, and they'll try and draw the first blood here tonight.
Question is, can Miami take care of the basketball without their top 2 point guards in this game? To begin for UMass, it's Jaden Jingay, the Massachusetts native from the key, bounces it off for Marcus Banks, who backs out to the logo. Now on the near side, it's Carbuccia, the true freshman, whipped around to the far wing. Jingay looking for an entry pass, nearly gave it away as Suter batted his pass up to the key away. Shot clock at 4 as UMass races towards the basket, but it was fumbled by Bettiol on the doorstep. Now Miami runs the other way, Kirby coast to coast, and he scores. RedHawks get the scoring going, 2-0, thanks to the energetic play from Justin Kirby. He has been electric since joining this Miami team and getting his red shirt pulled. 2-0 RedHawks, and on the left wing, it's Jaden Jingay across to the far side. Hankins Sanford drains a 3 from the corner pocket. Hankins Sanford, who transferred in from South Carolina, was recruited there by Frank Martin. And one of the most dynamic scorers in the Mid-American Conference, lifts UMass in front 3-2. Top of the key, Woolfolk thought about the entry pass inside, pulls it back down. Instead, it's a handoff to Byers, climbs baseline, whips it near corner, Kirby, extra to the wing. Suter into the short corner right, all the way across. Elmer 3 up, off the heel, in the air, and the rebound hauled down initially by Jingay. It gets torn down, though, by Justin Kirby, and that's a tie-up. And just another hustle play from Justin Kirby, who has been so good for this Miami team, doing those gritty things. Possession arrow is in favor of UMass, though, and they'll get the basketball with 18:15 to go in the first, leading 3-2.
Yeah, and plays like those are what are accustomed to Frank Martin teams, very physical, and they get the possession right back there.
One of the best offensive rebounding teams in the MAC. They are big. They don't shoot a ton of threes, but they are very good around the rim. Out near the logo, Marcus Banks, the UMBC transfer, plays it to the near side for Carbuccia, up to the top of the key, shimmies, whipped around to the near short corner. Hankins Sanford spins towards the lane, dishes it back outside. Banks spinning, 3 on the timer, backs in on Suter, rises up at the death of the shot clock, and a foul called against Suter as that shot was nowhere close. And Travis Steele immediately is flaming on the Miami bench. And a bailout there as Suter pleads his case to the official, and it will send Marcus Banks to the free throw line. This crowd is not happy, and Travis Steele is up on his toes, barking at the official as one of the best free throw shooters in the MAC. Marcus Banks quiets this crowd, making the first shot, 83% on the year. That makes it 4-2 UMass just over 2 minutes in. Banks on his 4th school, started at Western Carolina, then Odessa College in Texas, last 2 years at UMBC before a final season at UMass, and he's pure on the second free throw. It's 5-4 Massachusetts, just past the 2-minute mark of the first half. Pete Suter brings it up the floor, rocking the bright green shoes again for Miami, and he crosses the timeline on the left wing, dribbling waist high with the left hand. Wraparound pass, high post left. Woolfolk turns to face up to the basket, working against Bettiol. Shoulders into him, spins towards the baseline, lost the ball for a second, rakes it off the deck, gives it back out to the logo for Byers, and he's fouled on the drive. And now it's Frank Martin's turn to be a little bit upset with this officiating crew, as it's another bailout foul with the shot clock in single digits. But Miami gets a fresh 20 on the timer. They inbound in the UMass coach's box as Elmer inserts it for Suter on the far side of the logo. Screen set by Elmer. Suter circles to the near side, behind the back on the dribble, swings it to Elmer. Left wing 3, little short, and a strong side rebound yanked in by Hankins Sanford, the second leading rebounder for this UMass team. On the right wing, Marcus Banks holds, chest pass for Bettiol, the Italian graduate student, hands off up top. Step back and a long 2 by Banks. He cashes it from the right wing. Travis Steele is still just barking at the officials on the far side as it's now 7-2 UMass with 16:45 to go in the first half. Fake of a 3 there for Woolfolk now as he spins into the lane. Finds Kirby underneath, who lays it off the window and in. Justin Kirby has all 4 of Miami's points. It's 7-4 UMass with 16:30 to go in the first.
What a debut for the freshman, making his Millett Hall start tonight.
And on an entry pass, it's batted away by Elmer. Kirby takes it from left to right, swings it across, and a no-look to Suter, who hangs up and scores on the left side of the lane. 7-6 UMass now as we approach the 4-minute mark in this opening half. Carbuccia races down the right side past everybody and scoops it up and in off the window.
Getting very busy inside the paint so far.
True freshman Danny Carbuccia making his 16th start in his first year at UMass. 9-6 Minutemen, handoff top of the key for Byers, stumbles into the lane, lays it up overhead, and he's fouled as the shot rolls off the left side of the rim, and just pursed lips and a head shake for Frank Martin on the UMass bench. Neither coaching staff very pleased with the officials, but that is very typical of a high-energy game here in college basketball. This place is absolutely packed. It is buzzing. We'll send you away from it for a moment with 15:53 to go in the first half, and the score, UMass 9 and Miami 6. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. Return to Millett Hall with 15:53 to go in the opening half. The score, UMass 9 and Miami 6. And right now, RedHawks have missed their first couple three-point shots. On the other end, UMass has not missed a shot yet. They're 3 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line. But Miami has a chance to get this back to a one-point ball game with Brant Byers at the free throw line. Byers coming off an 11-point game in the overtime win against Kent State. That was all the way back last week on Tuesday as Byers connects on the first free throw. It was the bye weekend that every MAC team gets, so Miami did not have to play on Saturday. For UMass, they did against the Buffalo Bulls on the road, and they beat them. Again, a team that's been playing very well of late. Byers makes 2 of 2. So UMass team's travel plans were affected by the snow. They had to fly in today, so no hotel stay. Didn't get to shoot around early in the morning here at Millett Hall. Just a show and go. And they've got it back on the offensive end. Carbuccia shimmying, heads down the left side, and from the short corner, tosses one up that's knocked off the rim and ends up batted into the courtside seats, and it goes to Miami with 15:35 remaining in the opening half. UMass 9 and Miami 8 as Brant Byers puts it in for Pete Suter, and now UMass picks up a little bit of pressure in three-quarters court. Byers, back edge of the M, finds Suter across the timeline on the right wing. 10 gone on the timer. Travis Steele waving his hand with 3 fingers in the air on the Miami bench. Suter face guarded at the logo by Carbuccia. Bounces it right angle extended. Byers cuts across the free throw line, whips it back out. Elmer. Now up top, it's Elmar Atlas into the game. Hands it off to Suter. 4 on the timer. Suter fades away, right short corner. clangs off the front rim, doesn't go. And the rebound scooped off the floor by Carbuccia for UMass. And the Minutemen take it from right to left. Jaden Jingay, the Massachusetts native, on the pump fake. Stumbled towards the lane, dishes it outside, and a three is cash for Marcus Banks. Marcus Banks, one of the top three-point shooters on this team. Again, a team that doesn't take a ton of threes for UMass, but not a bad three-point shooting team by any means. They've made a couple. They lead at 12-8. Now Byers tries a left wing three. That doesn't go, but flying in for the rebound there. A foul is whistled, and it's against UMass, it looks like. And again, it's Justin Kirby right in the middle of it, who's been Miami's energizer. So Kirby gets a seed, and Trey Perry comes out for the first time. And again, with Luke Skaljak not dressed tonight, these two are going to have to deal with an extended workload. Miami inbounds from the second M in Miami, near side of the baseline. Rainbow out near midcourt. Suter was tarped, and Jingay's called for the foul. Jingay had him wrapped up like a running back in the backfield there. Got the deflection, would have had a run out, but that's a foul against UMass. And they're fourth already in the opening 5.5 minutes of this game. 12-8 Minutemen, 14:30 to go first half. And Ian Elmer inbounds from the near side, just beyond half court. Tosses it in for Suter, who sidesteps his way between the circles. Now Suter jets down the right lane, scoops up, puts it off the window through contact, and scores. Second bucket for Pete Suter, tied for the team lead now with 4. Back to a 2-point game. UMass in front at 12-10. Bettiol just inside the three-point arc on the right wing, pivoting left and right. Surveys for an option, hands it off behind him for KJ Parker. Parker worms his way through traffic, floats it up from the right elbow, and that finds the netting and re-extends the lead to 4. The Florida Southwestern transfer, JUCO product, and KJ Parker. Atlason open for the left side, tees up a three, and knocks it down. Miami finally gets the lid off the basket from three-point land after an 0-for-3 start, and Atlason's cut it to a 1-point game, 14-13, with 13:37 to go in the first half.
That's been his spot all year, and he makes it look easy.
Wembley Jr. hands off up top. KJ Parker slows to a halt far side of the logo. Now it's Bettiol from the key, and he finds Banks on the near side, who rips rope on a deep three. Banks caught some contact there, too. Miami may be a little fortunate there was no foul call. Three-man effort to get the RedHawks into the front court. Suter brings it across the timeline on the right wing, and now it's Elmer in the far corner. Slings it up top. Atlason open tray. In and out. Bettiol grabs it off the iron on the near side for UMass on the rebound. He's rocking the bright green shoes, working against the bright green shoes of Suter. Bettiol into the paint he goes. Might have shuffled his feet there, but missed. Got it back, puts it in, plus the foul. RedHawk crowd wanted to travel. Travis Steele is arguing for a push-off on the second effort there. Bettiol missed the first one at the bucket, but then put it in on the second effort. And Atlason's whistled for the foul. Miami making some subs. Antoine Woolfolk comes on along with Justin Kirby. They replace Pete Suter and Brant Byers. And that sends Leonardo Bettiol to the free throw line. 7th in the MAC in scoring. He's a 74% free throw shooter. Came to UMass by way of Abilene Christian. He can't connect, though, on the free throw, and a foul against Dwayne Wembley Jr. of UMass, the true freshman, going for the rebound. And that's already 5 against UMass. They've done very well to spread the fouls out so far. But as a team, in a little bit of trouble early on, at risk of putting Miami at the free throw line for a lengthy part of this first half. They've got the lead, though, at 19-13 with 12:47 to go in half number 1.
Yeah, if I'm Miami, I'm driving it in. Threes aren't falling, draw the fouls and get inside.
Woolfolk holding from up top. Miami playing 5 out for now. Handoff for Perry as Woolfolk heads inside. Far corner, Kirby rises for 3. Just off the back iron, rebound deflected and out of bounds off of Woolfolk, who got over the top to get a hand on it, but deflected it out. And so it's UMass basketball, and brought slowly up the floor by Danny Carbuccia from right to left. Top 5 recruit out of the state of New York. He's from White Plains. And it's handed off up top. Now KJ Parker has it on the far wing, handing off for Hankins Sanford. Right side, Luka Domjanic up to the top of the key. KJ Parker with a deep three, and he nails it. And this UMass team is making it rain right now. 4 of 4 from beyond the arc, and they've got a 9-point lead. Elmer controlling from the left wing. Lobs it high post for Woolfolk. Back around the arc, near wing, it's Elmer. Kirby backs up to the logo. Feet planted on the circle. 12 on the timer. Perry dribbles with his left, waves his right hand in the air. Now he feeds Kirby on the near side. 7 on the shot clock. Elmer, catch and shoot 3. Got it! On the near side, Ian Elmer swishes a 3. And Miami needed that one as it cuts the lead back to a half dozen at 22-16. Quick move the other way. Down the right lane, Carbuccia missed it, but an offensive rebound, and it's put over the top and in by Hankins Sanford. If you look down, you will miss this UMass team flying up the floor, one of the nation's leaders in pace. And they've got an 8-point lead with 11:18 to go in the first half. Kirby catches in the far corner, dribbles out of some pressure. Back up top, it's Perry. Perry wants some help. Woolfolk throwing his hands up in the air. Now Perry comes around a screen on the right side. Gives across for Elmer. 7 on the shot clock. 6-5 as Elmer makes his way into the lane. Floats it over top of 2 defenders, and it drops. Tough shot for Ian Elmer. 24-18 UMass with 10:54 to go in the first half.
He has risen to the occasion in MAC plan. He makes another spectacular play inside.
Ian Elmer coming off a career-high 25 against Kent State. Mid-range jumper from the right side falls off for Parker. Antoine Woolfolk got the rebound. Now Miami's in a mad scramble to not turn the basketball over, and it's run down by Trey Perry just before he went out of bounds. Atlason, NBA 3, in and out from the right wing. That was near the corner of the M for Atlason. And it's pulled out by UMass as Carbuccia crosses the timeline behind the back on the dribble, motors down the right lane, and lost control as the ball's chucked out of bounds. And it goes back to Miami thanks to the third UMass turnover and sends us to a timeout on the floor. High pace, high energy, you'd expect it inside Millett Hall. UMass with the early edge here on the road. Again, with 10:21 to go in the first half, the score, the Minutemen 24 and the RedHawks 18. We'll take a break. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. .21 remaining, opening half. UMass 24, Miami 18 the score. RedHawk basketball coming out of the timeout. Alongside Andrew Relvis, Luke Westpoli with you. Fun night so far, although UMass has thrown the first punch, and they are shooting the lights out of the basketball right now. 4 of 4 from beyond the arc. They're outright rebounding Miami 8-4. And the RedHawks playing without Luke Skaljak, who's not dressed tonight, and Pete Suter brings it down the right wing into the front court for the RedHawks. The nation's most efficient offense in the front court. Suter spins around on the right wing, hands off Byers, deep three with contact. It's off the back iron, but he's fouled. And Brant Byers has a chance at the free throw line coming up.
Threes right now for Miami, not falling, but still you get the foul, and already 6 team fouls on UMass, so it could be trouble for the Minutemen coming up if they're not careful.
Still 10:02 to go in this first half. 3 shots coming for Byers. And he rims out on the first one. He's top 25 in the MAC in free throw shooting, and this has just been an issue that has plagued Miami down these last few games. They were one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country, and they've just been anemic from the line ever since, and Byers misses the second one. So Byers goes 0 of 2 at the line. Good news is he's still got one more coming thanks to the 3-point shot.
Yeah, something's got to bend for the RedHawks. Just need to fix these free throw shooting numbers.
Byers does clatter in the final free throw. At least gets 1 out of 3 there, and that trims the lead down to 5 at 24-19. Crossed the halfway mark of the first. 6 fouls again on UMass already, but they've got a 5-point lead. On the right wing, Hankins Sanford lines it to the near block where a pass is deflected, still found its target. Jingay now rises for 3, and it falls. UMass has made their first 5 3-point shots. Jingay got that on the block, made his way back out, and made it from the corner. 8-point Minutemen lead. Suter has it on the far side, seeing some pressure in front. Elmer, top of the key, 3, bottoms. Elmer is nearly 40% from beyond the arc, makes the 3. Miami started to hit their shots from behind the arc. It's 27-22 UMass with 9:18 to go in the first.
UMass was 6 for 20 from 3 in their last game, 5 for 5. Let's see if they can stop them.
That ball lined over the top, and Jingay catches it over 2 defenders who are fronting him, and that's an easy lay-in for Jingay. Coming off 7 points, he has 5 already in this game, and UMass's lead is 7 with under 9 minutes to play in the first. From the nail, Woolfolk outside, Elmer, open 3, got it. Ian Elmer is keeping Miami in this ball game right now. He's got 11. He's made 3 shots from three-point land, and the lead down to 4 again with 8:43 to go in the first.
Had a whole area code away from him, and he made it look easy from deep.
From the block again, it's floated up over the top by Luka Damjanic, and he puts it through. The Austrian lifts UMass out to a 6-point lead, just dissected Miami's defense. Suter down the center of the lane, slithers through, couldn't get it. Offensive rebound, though, for Woolfolk, and he rises amongst the trees to put it off the square and in. 31-27 UMass, 8:13 to go, first half. Carbuccia looks at what's in front of him. Short pass, top of the key for Damjanic. Now on the far side, it's Marcus Banks, tearing it away from some pressure back up top. Carbuccia heads between the circles, accelerates down the left alley, goes from left to right on the bounce pass, and Damjanic wide open to lay it in. And Miami's just got no answer right now for UMass offensively as the lead is back to 6. Suter coast to coast, swings to the corner. Kirby open 3. Little short, but an offensive rebound back to Suter. He hangs up on the left side and puts it in. Pete Suter with an effort play. Miami's already grabbed 3 offensive rebounds now. Coast to coast there for Carbuccia. It's swatted away by Kirby. Run out Byers, throws it down. Again, it's Kirby in the middle of it all, and Byers cuts it to a 33-31 UMass lead as the crowd's on their feet with 7:18 to go in the first half. 2 fingers up in the air for Frank Martin on the UMass bench. Carbuccia to the far side of the M. Half the shot clock gone. Comes off a screen. Up top, Hankins Sanford. Shot fake from 3. Jingay, near wing. Cuts across the nail. Got around a steal attempt from Suter. Bumps at the MAC logo, and he traveled. Trying to duck underneath. Timeout on the floor, and this place is alive. RedHawks are finally getting stops. They've cut it to a 2-point ball game. 7:01 to go in the first half. And it's Miami basketball on the other side of the break with the score UMass 33 and Miami 31. We're back to Millett Hall in just a moment. Don't go away. You're listening to Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. 7:01 remaining first half. The score, UMass 33 and Miami 31. Minutemen led by as many as 9. And overall, Miami started to close the gap on the glass, hoping to get some stops. But this UMass team is the second best rebounding team in the MAC. And Miami just had to deal with the best rebounding player in the entire country in Delrico Gillespie over the weekend. And the RedHawks have fared decently well for themselves on the glass. They've closed the gap after an early lull. And now they take it from left to right after forcing a UMass turnover. Trey Perry into the game, and he gives it away as he looked for Byers on the far side. It's off his fingertips and into the arms of KJ Parker. Parker on the right wing for Marcus Banks, jabs twice. Back around the arc to the near wing. It's Jingay. Stutters around, stops at the nail, hop step to the second hash, pulls up in Suter's face and knocks down a smooth jump shot.
Yeah, a lot of these jumpers are with great contests from Miami, but they just find the bottom of the net for UMass.
They're 14 of 19 from the field. Suter, wide open diagonal alley down the right lane. He catches contact, missed the lay-in short, but a foul is called late. And UMass does not love it as Suter went to ground, and that shot kind of thunked off the underside of the rim. But as Suter went to ground, the whistle was blown with the Minutemen taking the ball the other way. Pete Suter to the free throw line. 2 shots coming up. First one up and gets a lucky roll over the front rim. For Miami, they were 65% against Kent State. And just for an idea of how good this team is at shooting free throws, the RedHawks are still the second best team in the MAC and 24th in the nation at free throw shooting despite a very forgettable couple of weeks from the line. Suter makes it 2 of 2, and that makes it a 35-33 ball game led by UMass with 6:18 to go in the first. Brought into the front court by KJ Parker. Again, played at Florida Southwestern. Miami played an MTE in their home gym last year. He's dribbling waist high with the left hand. Cuts across near side of the M. Flings it to the far wing for Marcus Banks. 13 on the shot clock. Steps back on a 3 and hits it in Suter's face. That is 6 of 6 for UMass from beyond the arc. That one, Suter was all over, and still Banks made it count. He's got 13. Byers now tries a contested tray. That's off too far to the right, and UMass has got the board heading from right to left. Jingay from the elbow extended. Shimmies in, bowls over Byers, and a block is called. Or is it a charge? They reverse the call, and it's a charge. The referee, who was on the far side baseline, called it a block. The referee on the near side must have called it a charge, and now neither head coach is happy, and the referees are going to meet here.
Yeah, it looked like his feet are outside of the restricted area, and we'll see what happens here.
Well, one referee is talking to Travis Steele, and he is not very happy. So it's looking like this may get reversed. Officials going over to the monitor here. Now both teams are called to their benches. 5:41 to go in the first half. The score, UMass 38, Miami 33. And so I think you were spot on. It looked like Byers was outside the restricted area. That may be part of what they're checking for here. And the referees now are not at the monitor, but just meeting in front of it and having a chat.
I mean,
now they're going to take a look.
This is a fairly big call because this would give Miami free throws and cut this to under 5 if you make them. But, I mean, we'll see. And just great start. Again, we talked about how good this UMass team has shot from 3 tonight. 6 for 6. They made as many three-pointers as they did in their last game. Come in as a 35% free three-point shooting team and making it rain tonight inside Millett Hall.
Again, this UMass team, when you think of support, when you think of just the money that's involved, not much really dropped off from their time in the Atlantic 10. And so because of that, this team was expected to come in and immediately compete in the MAC with arguably one of, if not the most talented rosters in the league. And again, things just came crashing down to start, but got a veteran head coach, and Frank Martin has spent plenty of time on the sidelines in college basketball. You knew it wasn't going to be like that forever, and now they've won 4 of 5. Miami, meanwhile, one of just now 2 undefeateds left in the country after Nebraska lost earlier today to Michigan. They were almost alone after a wild finish last night between Arizona and BYU, but Tommy Lloyd's Wildcats are still unbeaten. And so they, along with the RedHawks, are the last two with 0 in the loss column at this point in the year. It's looking like this is going to be UMass basketball here, as Travis Steele is down onto a knee and kind of gritting his teeth after the officials came off the monitor. So they're going to call a double foul.
Wow.
And so because of that, I believe the possession just continues. UMass has got to send somebody to go inbound the basketball. 23 on the shot clock, and they've got it on the offensive end. Marcus Banks inbounding from the last eye in Miami, goes into the corner for an unsuspecting Beniol, but he regathers the basketball, and now it's up top for KJ Parker. Parker, top of the key for Banks, straight away. He's double teamed. Now the double backs off. Hard pass to the far side. Jingay drives in, tries to slither between two defenders. Bumping on Elmer. Comes back outside with 6 on the shot clock. Parker in. Tough fadeaway from the left short corner. Doesn't go. 2 UMass Minutemen on the inside, though, for the offensive rebound. First shot by Beniol doesn't go. His second doesn't either. Now a third try doesn't go for the Minutemen, and the ball is ripped away by Ian Elmer, who's taking it 1 against 3 from left to right, and he draws the foul. Well, there is one of the best rebounding teams in the MAC going to work. They had so many opportunities there, but ultimately it ends up in the hands of Ian Elmer on the tertiary rebound, and Elmer runs the floor, draws the bump from Marcus Banks. That's his first. It's UMass's 9th, and Ian Elmer heads to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Elmer averaging 15 points per game over his last 4. Puts up the first one, and it's perfect for him. Dead center. Again, that includes a career high. That also includes a game where he was largely shut down against Central Michigan when Ofer from the field had just 2 points.
Uh-oh. Looks like Frank Martin might get a tee, or he's getting a warning right now.
He's being told to get back in his box, I believe, by the referee. He was barking at one of the other officials there, and so he's instructed to go back in. Second one pops off the lid for Elmer, and that's another missed free throw for Miami. They're now 6 of 9, and the rebound falls to UMass, who've got a 38-34 lead with 5 to go in our opening half. Parker on the right wing. Up top for Wembley Jr. Wembley Jr. spins, left elbow extended, up to the top of the key, wide open 3, Banks. They finally miss one, and a foul on Miami, it looks like, on the defensive glass, rather. They get Atlason. RedHawk bench got on their feet, thinking that was a UMass foul, but instead it goes against the RedHawks and Elmar Atlason. And he picks up his first, and that keeps the UMass possession alive. Give Beniol his 6th rebound, meanwhile.
This guy's been a beast tonight.
Averages 7.5 per game, good enough for 5th in the MAC. And he's got it up top. Bounces just inside the arc, straight away for Parker. Backs it between the circles. Now right elbow extended. It's Beniol. Back up top. Parker down the right side, working in Atlason's face. Tosses up an attempt that's not close, but it's right into the arms of Beniol. Tries to scrape free, and he goes up amongst traffic and gets fouled. Just got that underneath a canopy of RedHawks and just went up into them, seeing if he could draw some contact, and he did. Ian Elmer's whistled for the foul. That's his first, and that puts Leonardo Beniol, the graduate student from Italy, on the free throw line.
Yeah, he does a great job of putting the head down and burrowing inside for rebounds and second chances.
Swishes the first free throw. He's 74% this year. Guy that just takes a ton of shots. He's got 3 double-doubles this year. Shot as many as 18 field goal attempts.
Wow.
That was in the win against Toledo 2 games ago. Second shot up in the air and perfect for Beniol. And it's 40-34 UMass with 4:32 to go in the first half. Again, if you're just joining us, Miami's only lead is 2-0. They're playing without Luke Skaljack tonight, who's not dressed. UMass picks up a little bit of pressure here. Miami's got 3 men in the backcourt to get out of it, and it's Elmer catching a pass across the timeline on the left wing. Now Suter between the circles just tees up a 3. Missed it off right. No RedHawks in the area for the rebound. It's an easy one for Beniol to reel in. Carbuccia hands it off on the right wing. Beniol back for Carbuccia in front of Travis Steele on the far side. Now edge of the logo, it's Parker. Short pass Carbuccia straight away. Far angle extended, Parker cuts across the free throw line. To Carbuccia, into the corner. Three comes up from Isaiah Plaxid, doesn't go, but a weak side offensive board for UMass. Carbuccia all alone on the left side, and he nails a three. And Miami is really starting to get crushed on the glass here. The advantage now 16-8 for UMass, and they've got a 9-point lead once again, tying their largest of the night. 43-34 Minutemen. Suter catches it across the timeline on the right wing. Gives a no-look pass looking for Byers in the near side block, and that's tipped away by the Minutemen and picked back up as Carbuccia brings it ahead, and a foul on Atlason away from the ball. And that brings Miami to a much-needed timeout on the floor as things have unraveled on the RedHawks a little bit here. An 8-1 run by UMass over the last 3 minutes, and they've got the lead back out to 9 inside a lively Millett Hall. Energy in this place has died down. Miami's trying to make some changes, get back into this ball game. 3:26 to go in the first half. 43-34, the UMass advantage. We're back in a moment. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. .326 to go, opening half. UMass 43 and Miami 34. A foul against Almar Atlason, and UMass has a chance to extend their largest lead of the night. Currently tied for it with 9 points, and we were just singing the praises of Miami's work on the glass, and that has been pretty much quashed as UMass now has a 16-8 advantage on the boards tonight, and they're the second best rebounding team by margin in the Mid-American Conference, so they have shown it with 7 offensive rebounds here tonight. They've got it on the offensive end. Bettiol bounces it just inside the three-point stripe, straight away for Carbuccia. Handoff, gets it back. Carbuccia motors up the baseline, and he gets fouled as he lays that off the bottom of the backboard, and they get Justin Kirby for the foul. That's his first.
That's the 7th on Miami, so now UMass can really try and take advantage as both teams are on the bonus.
UMass is a dreadful free throw shooting team traditionally this year. Last in the MAC, 67%. And they missed the first one on the front rim. It's Carbuccia at the line, who's just 34% from the free throw line this year, 13 of 38. He's had a dynamic freshman season, but he's struggled to shoot the ball, both from the three-point line and at the free throw stripe. Second one in the air, missed it in the same spot. Rebound poked right back to him, though. And now it is a long jumper taken by Plaxid. He misses that short. That front rim got 3 different deflections there, and it stays out. Miami ball, Suter down the right lane, kick out. Byers all alone for 3 off the back rim. Elmer got a hand on the rebound, but it's with Carbuccia instead. Miami now 4 of 14 from beyond the arc compared to 7 for 9 from 3 for UMass. Minutemen lead at 43-34, under 3 to go, opening half. Top of the key, it's Plaxett. Circles the arc left side, working against Suter. Trying to get it to the inside, and now enters it. Low post for Bettiol. Back up top, a shot fake for Parker. Heavy collision. Suter went down. Parker put it up. It didn't go. And a foul on UMass attacking the offensive glass. It's on Luka Damjanec, I believe, who had the ball in his hands. And it's kind of hard to tell when you look at the UMass bench. Yep. Pretty much an animated reaction from Frank Martin anytime the whistle is blown. It's been about 50% at the officiating, 50% at his own guys. And I think he was more frustrated with Damjanec there, as this brings the crew all the way to the other side of the court for Byers to take some free throws. It's the 10th on UMass, so 2 shots for Byers. First one in the air, and good. And that makes it a 43-35 game. And RedHawks are hoping that breaks up the slump a little bit. Byers wearing an arm sleeve on his left, nothing on his right, spins the ball in the air, and is too strong on the second free throw, and Byers is now just 4 of 7 from the line so far tonight. 43-35, UMass in front, 2:27 to go first half. Slow pace up top, Carbuccia. Ladles it across for Damjanec on the wing. Enters it into the post, double immediately on Bettiol. He escapes it, gets to the far side, and goes up and under to put it in. Travis Steele said that Bettiol reached around a defender to get some extra space, but that is another excellent play by the veteran, and it's a 10-point UMass lead. Elmer tries a contested 3, and he rips the rope. Nothing really doing for Miami on that possession, but that was an absolute had-to-have shot for Ian Elmer, and the lead's back down to 7 with under 2 to play in the first.
Elmer putting on the superhero cape, nails his 4th three-pointer of the night, much needed.
He's got 15 points. Bettiol down the center. Damjanec throws it off the back rim. It takes 2 skips and falls in. Damjanec, along with Bettiol, providing Miami a whole lot of trouble down low. Damjanec up to 6 points. Bettiol picks up his 2nd assist. Pressure picks up for UMass. Miami breaks it. Byers triple teamed in the post, gets it back outside. Suter to the far wing. Elmer rises for 3 and connects. Another one for Ian Elmer. He's 5 for 7 from 3, and the lead's down to 6 with 1:15 to play in the first. And a timeout called by UMass as they bring it into the front court. That's the use it or lose it for the Minutemen. And again, the RedHawks just creeping their way back into this ball game. Feels like Miami's leaving a lot on the table with what they're doing defensively. That's now arguably, so we just have over a minute left in the first, 5 straight halves of lackluster defensive basketball, but you can see why this team is the best offensive team in the country as they've stayed within the game.
Yeah, it feels like every wrench that's thrown at them, they have an answer for it. And like that last game, they've left points off the board, 7 for 11 from the free throw line. I mean, you got to make more of those free chances, especially Brant Byers going 1 for 3 on the 3-point foul. But so good to see Elmer getting going. 18 points, 5 for 7 from 3. Slow start to the year, but he has really ticked those numbers up scoring-wise. And you got about 70 seconds left, so hopefully we'll see if the RedHawks can get some stop and some momentum heading into the half break.
To 11 points a game for Ian Elmer, second-team All-MAC selection in the preseason. 1:12 to go, first half. Just a reminder, Gavin Stark, Jake Zaroli have your RedHawk Radio halftime coming up. UMass has it on the offensive end, and it's KJ Parker holding from the far side on the handoff for Marcus Banks. Just a bunch of training up top. It ends up with Wembley between the circles, a hard screen, and an offensive foul. Wembley handed it off for Banks and just ran through the chest of Pete Suter. And an offensive foul called against Wembley. That is his first. With 1:02 remaining, UMass has done really well to spread out fouls in this first half, despite now committing 11. Nobody with more than 2. We're inside the final minute. Miami can play for a 2-for-1. Elmer straight away. Feeds far side. Now it's Suter. Takes a glance at the clock. Now has it top of the key. Stutter step. Pulls back on a 3. In and out. And a rebound hauled in by Bettiol, who's now up to 9 first half boards. Shot and game clock separated by about 13 and a half seconds as UMass brings it up. And KJ Parker holds on from just beyond the halfway line. Parker dribbling with the left hand. Wants a screen from Bettiol. Now he rejects it and waves him off. Now it comes back up. Parker with couple in his face, 8 on the timer, stops his feet, gave it to the near side. Plaxett got it away from Elmer, rises up for 3, can't hit it. Justin Kirby grabs the rebound for Miami, and he's fouled, going back up the floor. mean, I am telling you, the RedHawks, it feels like, could be down by probably 15 right now on their home floor if it wasn't for the efforts of Justin Kirby. And it's just very typical, not a tremendous stat line by any means, but just making some huge plays in this first half. And Kirby's at the free throw line for a couple of shots with 14.4 seconds to go. RedHawks down 6. Freshman puts the first one up and in. Kirby, no stranger to big games. A couple of state title games at Fishers High School. He won one. His team's currently one of the best high school programs in the entire nation right now out of Greater Indianapolis. He's a McDonald's All-American nominee, Indiana All-Star last season. And again, it's just given everything the RedHawks have wanted and more since they pulled his red shirt prior to the Bowling Green game. Second one up, second one perfect for Justin Kirby. Shot clock dark, 14.4 seconds to go, opening half. The lead 47-43 in favor of UMass. Carbuccia brings it up the floor slowly, 10 on the game clock. Heads around a screen on the left side, pulls up for three. It rattles off. Woolfolk's got the board. RedHawks got a hustle here, 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Elmer, long three at the horn, off the left side of the rim. If Miami wanted a home run there, Justin Kirby was wide open all the way down the floor, but Antoine Woolfolk didn't see him all the way under his own basket. And overall, can't really complain about how Miami closed that half after an ugly sequence between the under 8 and under 4 timeouts that resulted in Miami falling down by 10 points. They fell down in 2 pretty big holes in that first half and had an answer to at least get back within a couple of possessions both times as they're down 4 at the break.
Yeah, and the big reason for that is Ian Elmer, 18 points, 5 for 7 from deep, like I mentioned a little bit ago. And just that little hesitation from Woolfolk was the unfortunate ending to the half for the RedHawks. But still, they end the half on a 5-0 run, and they're looking to really storm this one back in the second half. And, you know, these past couple games for Miami, second half has been a struggle defensively, but we'll see if the RedHawks can kind of change the script here at home tonight.
Miami had a 14-point lead at Kent State, allowed 58 points in the second half to the Golden Flashes. They'll try to flip the script here on UMass, trailing at the break by 4, 47-43. We'll take a break. When we come back, Jake Zarolnik, Gavin Stark, have your RedHawk Radio halftime with some stats analysis of the first half, a look around college basketball, and again, a very important non-conference score, as well as a peek around what transpired earlier tonight with our late-night tip here in the Mid-American Conference. They'll also preview the second half, all that coming up after the break. Again, it's 47-43 UMass here at halftime from Millett Hall, and you're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio.
Halftime here inside of Millett Hall, where it's been a down, back and forth type of first half. 47-43, the UMass Minutemen lead and going into the halftime here. And the headline of the start of this one was no Luke Skowjak, obviously, Jake. I mean, he's out with an illness, and this offense is still able to operate because of the way that they play. It's a quick style. They're able to just drive in, kick out. That's their offense. That's the go-to offense. And Peter Suter at the helm with things in the ball, carrying the ball down the court, but the real issue here right now is free throws and rebounding. It's simple as that. What do you got?
It absolutely is. Forgot if we said, back with you, your pregame host, Jake Ciroli, alongside Gavin Stark.
Yeah.
We talked about this all throughout the first half while we were sitting and watching. Free throws and rebounding. That has been the problem. I know we sound outdated. We sound like a broken record, but it's true. Because the only thing broken about this Miami team are those two things. They cannot shoot the free throws well at all. They are 9 of 13 from the free throw line for a percentage of 69.2%, almost 10 percentage points under their season average of 77.3. That has been their issue, and that number might not even seem that bad, but those 4 free throws that they missed, that's 4 points, and they're down by 4 points. That's real easy to make this a tie game. Talking about the loss of Luke Skaljak, unfortunately, he is sick today, so we will not have him for the game. And we're missing that security blanket out of the backcourt. Skaljak has always been, especially when UMass started their press at, might have been, 12 minutes to go?
Yeah.
In the first half, they started a little 2-2-1 press, and it was fine. They were matriculating the ball down the court, but it was taking them 7 seconds to get over the timeline. That's just not sustainable in the long term. With Skaljak, with that, that cool hand Luke, that's what they say, He's able to calm things down, and even when they're in the offensive set, he's able to just be a calming presence, get the ball to him, he'll put the ball on the floor, work things out. You don't need to be chucking the ball around looking for a bad shot. And I feel like the loss of Skaljak has contributed to them forcing some shots.
Yeah, well, it's 4 degrees outside, a frigid one, but talk about hot. It's Antoine Woolfolk as he's warmed things up in this one. Played all 20 minutes. Excuse me, Ian Elmer, sorry. He's played all 20 minutes, 6 for 8 from the field, 5 for 7 from the three-point line. He's got 18 and has led the way and really kept this team in it. That's why they're down 4 right now, and it's because Ian Elmer in transition is just drilling threes and has one of the purest jumpers always, but man, is it butter tonight. He's been brilliant. But like you said, struggling on the board is just, it's been a little bit of a struggle throughout the season, but they've been able to work around it, and tonight it's just been a disaster. It was 47-43 at halftime, actually, against Akron earlier this year inside of Millett Hall, and it was due to rebounding as well, and this team ended up figuring it out. So don't hit the panic button quite yet. Looks like the whistle's kind of in our favor as of right now. That could switch going into the second half, or you could keep getting that whistle. You never know. But, rebounding-wise, it's probably going to be a struggle tonight with the way that was. That was just a dominant first half with the rebounding side of things for UMass, and that's why they lead right now by 4 points, like you said, Jake. Just also knocking down threes hasn't been what this UMass team has really done the best this season, but they have 7 right now. Marcus Banks Jr. is 3 for 4 from the three-point line, and that's just something that wasn't really expected as we came in as. You headlined Marcus Banks Jr. going into this game, but it wasn't from the three-point line at all. It was more of just being the facilitator and just getting key buckets when need be, but he has been the offense so far.
He absolutely has. There was a stretch there where he just could not miss. He was going down possession to possession, bang, 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 and it was real hard to contain him. He has slowed down a little bit. Don't believe he's scored in a few minutes. We talked about the rebounding. UMass out-rebounding the RedHawks 20-12. 8 offensive rebounds for UMass. 3 of them coming on one possession that they somehow still did not score on. So a bit of a gift there, but that is really concerning. 20-12 being out-rebounded by 8 by UMass. We knew that UMass was bigger. Miami has struggled with their size all season. UMass boasts a big lineup. 2 6'10 guys, 2 6'9 guys, a few guys that are 6'8. They have got some big players, especially Leonardo Bettiol, the Italian senior. Only 6 points, but 9 rebounds. 6 points and 9 rebounds, folks. You heard me correctly. That is a daunting stat line. And the only reason he has been unable to really capitalize on those second chance points is because he's been fouled. He's been tidy from the free throw line, going 2 of 3 in his 3 attempts from the charity stripe. In the assist game, 9 for UMass, 4 players with 2, those being Carbuccia, Hank and Sanford, Jingay, and Bettiol all with 2. Parker adding 1 for himself. The assist leader for Miami, no surprise, Peter Struder with 5. Antoine Woolfolk contributing 3 of his own. Woolfolk's had a bit of a quieter game. We highlighted him earlier on. He's going to need to be physical with Bettiol down low to limit their rebounding. That hasn't gone so well so far. How do you think they can bounce back? And what do you think Travis Steele is saying to his big men right now? And is he even warming up Tyler Robbins to come into the game just for a size advantage?
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth right there, Jake. Tyler Robbins is definitely going to be a guy that I would look to maybe see come into this second half. We played shorter in the first half, 7 guys. Travis Steele has talked multiple times this season about how in this league you need to play 9 guys to win, and he's played 7. So I don't expect him to stick with 7. I think a guy like Kyle Waltz can come in and maybe bring on a spark as well from the three-point line, but a guy that's definitely going to get some minutes, I would say, is Tyler Robbins in the second half. You're down 8 in the rebounding category, and you're not getting any offensive rebounds at all. I think you've got to just look for some type of answer, and I don't think it's going to hurt if you throw in Robbins and just give it a shot, see what he can do, because it's not like he is a liability on the offensive end either, because he can score the basketball. He showed that this season, so maybe give that a shot. He's definitely got a size advantage at almost 7 feet tall and just a physical guy as well, but it doesn't get much more physical than Antoine Woolfolk. That's the thing. I mean, this guy he's playing physical. He's just getting out physical right now, which is probably the first time all season that we've said that word. Antoine Woolfolk being out physical, and that's just how it's been. There has been some bounces off this rim that, just going in UMass's hands, and, that's basketball for you. They say that's baseball all the time. That's basketball as well. Some things are just not going to, bounce your way, and I think a lot of rebounds haven't for the RedHawks. But you got to be more physical, and I think that's the first key. But you got to figure out how to be physical and not get called for it, because this has been a heavy whistle game so far. Whistle's been in Miami's favor, but you could easily see things switching here in the second half as well. So it's interesting. I would lean towards Tyler Robbins getting some minutes, though, in this second half, maybe stretching it out to 8 guys, and if they want to go to 9, Kyle Waltz will come in as well.
Right, I completely agree. Robbins, you got a guy that's 6'10", 245 on your bench, and you're getting out-rebounded. You got to at least give him a run out there. Give him a few minutes, see how he meshes, see how he matches up with Bediol and Damiec. Luka Damiec, the 6'10", 260-pound senior from Vienna. So some international big men for the Minutemen that Miami's going to need to deal with, and Robbins and Waltz may be called upon. Their services may be required to do just that. As we get under 5 minutes to go until the start of the second half here, 47-43 UMass. And what we've highlighted, sort of what I think we've danced around, and I want to hit it real right here, is the fact this has been an end-to-end game. We thought that UMass would want to play a slow game, that they'd want to slow things down, get into their offense, and win a low-scoring game. Both teams are scratching the 50 mark right now. They're on pace. They're on pace to crack 90. We thought this might be a low-scoring game if UMass was having it their way, and they are having it their way, and it's going the exact opposite. So I guess if I'm turning this into a question here, is that going to continue here? Do you think now they have a lead, they've gotten some momentum, or are they going to now slow things down and try to get more fundamental?
Well, they've tried to slow this offense down for the RedHawks, and it's worked a little bit. Like you said, at the beginning they were struggling to beat the press, but they kind of figured it out. They're using Antoine Woolfolk in the middle of the half court to get across half court within 5 seconds, I'd say, at max now. So they figured that out on the offensive end for the RedHawks. So you're not really slowing down their offense anymore. That was short-lived for the Minutemen. But for them on the other end, they like to set up that offense. They've done it a few times, and they've drawn fouls out of it. So I would look for them to probably, like you said, they have this lead. You're playing a top 25 team in the country in their place in a sold-out environment. You're going to try to slow this thing down and draw some more fouls, getting them your way inside the second half, especially when you get under that 12-minute mark here in this one. If they still have a lead, expect them to slow it down, because they don't want to get in a track meet with the RedHawks, because in transition, you got a guy like Justin Kirby and Ian Elmer. Ian Elmer's been brilliant in transition so far in this one. He's been brilliant in transition all year, but especially tonight, probably 15 of his 18 points have came in transition. And then Justin Kirby thrives in transition as well. I mean, he's down the court in seconds, just glides down there. So you don't really want to get in a transition battle even without Scaljack at the point with this team still. So look to slow it down for this Minutemen as best as they can.
If they do get into a running race, they will lose it, because Miami team wants to play fast. But what's really stuck out to me, we've talked about UMass trying to get into their system. How about Miami trying to get into their system? Because what's made their offense so prolific isn't the fact they've been running down the court and throwing up lobs on every possession. It's the fact that when they settle into their offense, 8 times out of 10, they get an open 3 or a dish down low to a big man to lay it in. Yeah. And we've really been missing that. We really have. There hasn't been that many controlled possessions, and I think that's something they need to replicate more in the second half if they want to take this lead back.
Players back on the court. We're just under 2 minutes. We'll wrap things up. And for the halftime show. We'll see you again at the end of this one, hoping for a RedHawks victory to prevail at 21-0. We'll kick it back to Luke West-Poli and Andrew Rebels for second half coverage here. All right, RedHawks down 47-43, a minute away from tip-off here inside of the second half. Thanks for listening to the halftime show on the RedHawk Radio Network. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Second half underway.
Almost ready for the second half inside Millett Hall. Luke West-Poli and Drew Relvis back with you as the Minutemen from Massachusetts. They come on the road day of, and they put together as good of a first half as you'll see. UMass comes on the road. They make their first 6 3-point shots. They out-rebound Miami by 8, and yet, thanks to some circus shot making and 18 first half points from Ian Elmer, Miami only finds themselves down by 4 at the break.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to be desired, a lot left points off the board for the RedHawks, but really good effort in that kind of final set for the RedHawks, and hopefully in the second half we see this crowd come alive to sell out here tonight in Millett Hall, and we'll see if the RedHawks can use it to their advantage against a UMass team who is very stingy, and they're giving the RedHawks all they can handle tonight so far.
First ranked game for UMass since 2020, and that was Obi Toppin's Dayton team, the 6th-ranked Flyers that were robbed of a potential NCAA tournament run back during the COVID year. First time Miami's ever been ranked and playing inside this building. And the RedHawks down at the break, but they get the ball coming out of halftime. And again, Miami playing without Luke Skaljak, and of course have been playing for a while without Evan Ipsaro. And so it's been a 3-man rotation of Suter, Perry, and Kirby running the one. Miami only turned the ball over 4 times in that first half, but the RedHawks hoping to rebound the ball a heck of a lot better than they did in the opening 20 and trying to turn that into points. Again, a late night tip here on ESPNU. Glad you're with us on RedHawk Radio. First nationally televised game inside Millett Hall since last year's regular season finale. RedHawks down to Ball State that night. Byers of the ball in his hands. He puts it into the backcourt for Pete Suter, and we are underway. Second half here from Millett Hall. And enjoy it. We sure will, as the RedHawks down by a couple possessions. Pete Suter to the far side, circles Woolfolk, a big man 3. Falls off the front iron, but an offensive board on the right wing for Suter, and the RedHawks settle it back outside. Byers on the shot fake, drives into the lane. He's bumped, and he's fouled. Justin Kirby took a loose ball and slammed it, soaring through the middle of the paint. But a foul called prior to that. And that will send Brant Byers to the free throw line. Leonardo Bettiol picks up the foul, just his second. For UMass, Dwayne Wimbley picked up 3 fouls in that first half. UMass committed 12 fouls in the opening 20 minutes. Brant Byers at the free throw line. He's been a frequent customer there tonight, and he deposits the first free throw. Now 5 of 8 from the stripe. Byers arcs the second free throw with the right wrist. It splashes, and it is down to a 2-point game. 47-45, Miami's only led once in this game. They had the first basket. It was 2-0. Need a stop here for now. The first possession of the half for UMass on offense. Jingay back straight away for Bettiol. He hands off between the circles for Carbuccia. Working left and right. Now stops just below the 3-point arc. Finds a driving Bettiol down the left alley to lay it in. Miami has just had very little answer for UMass's bigs so far tonight. Bettiol's got 8, and the lead's back to 4.
He's a freight train inside. Woolfolk a good defender, but Bettiol wins the battle there.
Woolfolk holding up top. Heads right. Works his way to the short corner, shoulders, edge of the paint, hangs up, puts it off the window, no good. Kirby went in for the rebound, and it went right through his hands, but he was hacked, and the foul is called. Suter ended up with the basketball. They call a foul, and the foul's going against Kirby, so that sends him to the free throw line. And again, Justin Kirby just having a monumental night. His career high 17 points in the Central Michigan game. He had 9 in the win over Kent State. Tonight, Kirby has 6 points and 3 rebounds. And now Frank Martin saying, hold on. He had no idea what the call was. And once he realized, he called the referee over to have a chat. Meanwhile, first free throw up and in for Justin Kirby.
Kirby right now looking like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, he's brought this crowd to life, and he has really been playing well. Not looking like a freshman at all.
Miami has needed him to show maturity far beyond his age, and he has shown it, and he makes both free throws. He stays perfect from the stripe. And it's 49-47 UMass, a minute 10 into the second half. Carbuccia, 5 points, 3 assists for him so far. Slings it near wing for Jingay, works his way across. Carbuccia on the far side now, backs it up, pull it all the way across. All alone, a near side 3 up and in for Jingay. Or rather, that was Hankins Sanford 1, not 1-1 on the 3 for UMass, but he makes the shot, and that makes it a 4-point game for UMass as they lead it. Suter works his way to the edge of the paint, gives it back outside for Byers, further for Elmer, further up top now for Justin Kirby. Kirby motors down the right side, stops at the elbow, soccer throw-in pass to the near side. Elmer, step back 3 with a man on his face off the heel. Kirby went up top for the rebound, and he commits a foul. And you figure that may be coming eventually, the way that Kirby has gone in aggressively for those offensive boards tonight. And he finally gets whistled for 1. That's his second foul overall. And it gives UMass the basketball back with 18:06 to go in the second half. They lead it 51-47. Brought up the floor by Carbuccia. It's been starting since UMass played in the Paradise Jam against Oregon State. Really good true freshman year for him. Puts it on the deck, left wing, Bettiol just inside the arc. Now pivots outside, palming the ball in his right hand. Rejects the first handoff, gives it way out for Banks. He almost lost it out of bounds. 7 on the shot clock. Banks all the way out near half court on the right wing. Tried to insert it into the post. He gave it away. Byers has it. 3-on-2 for Miami. Byers goes 1 against 2. Puts it off the window. It doesn't go. Loose ball is pulled out by Jingay for UMass. Jingay straight line down the right wing. Stops inside the arc, gives it back up top, and now Carbuccia wants it. He slows down, puts the bunny sign up in the air. That's the play call from his head coach. Gets a screen. Now it turns to the left side. Carbuccia heading right, throws it into the paint, and a miss layup for Hankins Sanford, but he got his own miss back and put it in. I think expecting contact there, none came, so he missed an easy look, but because there was nobody there, he got to put it back. 6-point UMass lead. Past 3 minutes gone in the second half. Suter out for Byers. Way downtown 3 off the front rim. It's off the fingertips of Jingay, but Hankins Sanford snares it before it heads out of bounds. And UMass has got the ball left to right. They called the same play. It's Carbuccia from up top, dribbling with the left hand. Now he accelerates, stops at the elbow, lost the basketball, pulled away by Kirby. Lead pass for Byers. He goes up and slams it down. Second time we've seen Byers dunk one on a run out. Last time it really ignited Miami, and they've pulled back within 4 with 16:23 to go in regulation.
Missed the fast break opportunity the first time and clean it up for a pair.
Insertion pass into the post, hit off the foot of Antoine Woolfolk. Miami thought they had a deflection and a loose ball, but it's a kickball there. And so that keeps it with UMass. 16:17 remaining. And from the final eye in Miami, it's inbounded to Carbuccia, who spins and makes his way all the way out near the three-point arc. Into the corner, pass for an open Banks, and he splashes a 3. Banks has been unconscious, 4 of 5 from beyond the arc tonight. He's got 16 points to lead all Minutemen, and it's a 7-point UMass lead as we cross the 4-minute mark in the second half. Meanwhile, Carbuccia just poking away at Justin Kirby, and he's called for the foul up top with 23 on the shot clock. Third team foul on UMass. That brings us to a timeout on the floor, and even 4 minutes into the second half. So far, the Minutemen have the better of our second frame. They lead it 56-49 with 16 minutes to play. We return to Millett Hall in just a moment. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. "16 minutes to play. The score, UMass 56 and Miami 49. And it's RedHawk ball coming out of the media timeout. UMass has outscored Miami 9-6 in this half. There was a brief scoring disparity, I believe, between whether a shot was a 2 or a 3. The score is correct at 56-49. And the inbound flies high in the air, and Elmer pulls it down right in front of us on the left wing before resetting for Suter in the front court. Suter down the right side, circles into the paint, finds Woolfolk all alone in the restricted area to lay it in. Untouched there, and that's an easy lay-in for Antoine Woolfolk off the feed by Suter, who picks up his 6th assist. Lead down to 5, 15:40 to play. Carbuccia bounces it off for Banks. Shielding now faces up to the basket and finds Bettiol straight away. Bettiol shuffles and hands off between the circles. Carbuccia steps in, backs up, 8 on the shot clock. Feet on the three-point arc. He feeds it far side. Plaxid, 3 ball off his back foot. Doesn't go. Rebound tapped out. Byers collided with, and he's fouled. Hankins Sanford trying to go in for the foul. And RedHawks ran that one out, I think. And the foul goes against Isaiah Plaxid. Hankins Sanford and Plaxid both came in on Byers going after that loose ball. And Blanken Sanford is called for the foul. So it's Miami basketball after getting the rebound. 56-51 UMass. Pressure picks up for the Minutemen, and Byers catches across the timeline on the left wing, feeding it into the middle for Ian Elmer, who plays catch with Suter, fakes a long 3, and now pulls it back down. Suter on the logo, diagonal to the right side, handoff for Elmer, backs it Back to the M. 12 on the timer, and it's Byers on the near wing. Short pass, Elmer. Scurries to the corner, finds Woolfolk left wing. Back up top, Byers. 5 on the timer. Byers works his way down the left lane, kicks to the corner. Kirby, open 3. Swish! Justin Kirby, another big one. He drains the 3. The lead's down to 2 with 14:42 to play. Carbuccia up top, Bettiol palms it in his left hand, now holding on with his right. Hands it off for Banks, has it back. Shouldering in on Byers, scoops it over the top. It's short, rebound tapped up in the air, and Kirby's got it for Miami. He brings it up the floor, whips his head around to look at his teammates, and now settles it down. Justin Kirby picks up his dribble and hands it off for Woolfolk, who hands further for Suter, straight down the right lane. Suter hangs up, he's blocked by Banks, but it's out of bounds and sticking with Miami. 16 left to shoot for the RedHawks. 14-14 to go in the game. Justin Kirby is up to 11 points. That trails only Ian Elmer, who's made 5 threes and has 18 for the RedHawks.
Another 5-0 run for the RedHawks. We'll see if they can land another punch on the Minutemen here.
Woolfolk catches the inbounds pass, bounces it for Elmer at the nail. Further for Byers on the far block. He's tarped by Banks. Double team, shoulders right into it. Byers goes up top. It's rejected away. But a foul or a tie-up called there. I believe it's a foul going against UMass, and it is indeed against Marcus Banks. And that is, I think, a little fortuitous for Miami as Byers went right through the teeth of a double team and now has a chance to even the game at the free throw line. Second foul on Banks. First free throw up. Gets a bad bounce for Byers off the front rim. Almar Atlason back onto the floor for the RedHawks. He replaces Antoine Woolfolk. Atlason picked up a couple early fouls, only played 9 minutes in that first half. Second least besides Trey Perry for the RedHawks. 0 of 2 trip for Byers, but Atlason taps out the rebound, and Byers has got it with his momentum taking him back near half court. He feeds it across for Ian Elmer, pointing at his toes. Sidesteps straight away. Finds Atlason, ball at his waist, bounces it to the short corner left for Suter. Shouldering into the paint. Shooter, hop step, Mac logo, hangs up, and it rolls the inside of the rim and falls out. UMass has got the board. Parker surveys ahead. Scoop out, sidestep, Banks, 3-ball, falls out, and Elmer's got the rebound. Banks finally missed one, just his second that didn't fall from beyond the arc tonight. Elmer stumbles, but had his dribble and gets it back out for Suter. Elmer now gives it back to him. It's bounced up for Almar Atlason, poked away. Atlason gets down on the floor for it, and it is poked out of bounds by Miami. And just a situation where Atlason was tied up there with Domjanec out near midcourt. The RedHawks try to give it to him, and Elmer turns it over.
Yeah, that's just a tough pass and an awkward angle from Ian Elmer. One that he definitely wants back, and we'll see if the RedHawks can get the stop here.
56-54 UMass, 13-15 to go in regulation. Parker holds from up top. Shot clock getting awfully low here. It's already at 10. Parker down the center of the paint, steps right, third hash, pulls up and makes it. Tough jumper for KJ Parker. He's been a professional at making those shots tonight. As he's up to 7 points and a lead back to 2 possessions for UMass. Atlason, meanwhile, right wing 3. Rattles off, but Elmer's right there for the rebound to fly in and tap it back. Back down to 2. Elmer up to 20 points. 5 shy of the career high set last Tuesday. Bettiol working 1 against 2. Now the double team fades off. Short corner right. Backing in on Elmer. Gets to the edge of the lane. Tries to spin underneath. Floats it over the top and in. Bettiol in his bag on the block. He's up to 10 points. 60-56 UMass. 12:22 remaining. Suter up the baseline. And an acrobatic pass to Elmer, open from the left wing, couldn't get it, but Kirby with the offensive rebound, and he's hauled down, going back up, and gets fouled. I mean, just can't say enough good things as Justin Kirby set to head to the free throw line, taking advantage of his first career start in the absence of Luke Skaljak tonight. Trey Perry has made his way to the table, presumably to take the spot of the shooter here. Kirby, meanwhile, readying to shoot 2. And Kirby drains the first. Third double-figure scoring game for him in his Miami career, and just his 8th game overall. Up to 12 points. Beg your pardon, instead, Perry comes in for Ian Elmer for Miami. So the RedHawks get a little bit smaller as Perry comes back on. He's played just 7 minutes so far.
Another guy who can give you a lot of energy off the bench.
Second free throw swirls the iron and drops for Justin Kirby. Give him 13. Lead down to 2 again. 12-10 remaining. Slowed down by Carbuccia. Slings it to the right side. It's batted away from Plaxid. 2-on-1. Kirby with Elmer. Euros hangs up. Put it off the window. Too strong. He was with Perry, rather, and it's pulled down by Plaxid for the rebound. Parker shuffles into the right lane. Gives it back outside for Hankins Sanford. Handoff Carbuccia. Back up Hankins Sanford. Straightaway three. That finds nylon. UMass has made every big three, it's felt like, when the score has gotten close tonight. That is their 9th made triple. Lead back up to 5. Byers, shot fake, drive, catches contact, lays it up, and it's over top the basket. Going up and under, but an acrobatic play to the rim. A foul whistled, and Brant Byers has got 2 more free throws upcoming. Attempts number 12 and 13 for him on the night. And that's the 7th team foul on UMass that puts Miami in the bonus. 2 shots on a shooting foul for Brant Byers when we come back. 11:31 to go in the second half. UMass remains in front with the score 63-58 in favor of the Minutemen on the road. You're listening to Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. .11:31 to go, second half, with the score UMass 63 and Miami 58. Brant Byers set to go to the free throw line. His career high in free throw attempts is 12. He's done it twice this year against Akron and Wright State. He's about to take attempts number 12 and 13 on the night. Meanwhile, Isaiah Plaxid just picked up his 3rd foul. He's forced to sit. Frank Martin's put him on the bench. Byers puts up the first free throw and drains it. Marcus Banks comes back in for the Minutemen. Wembley, Plaxid, and Jinge with 3 fouls for UMass. All but one player, that's KJ Parker, has 2 or more. Parker has none. Byers makes both. And that's a good sign for the RedHawks, as he's now 8 of 13. Been an uncharacteristically rough night for Byers, but again, that's just been the story the last couple weeks for Miami at the free throw line. And good to see him make both. He comes off the floor now, and Miami picks up in a 1-3-1 as UMass brings it up the floor. 63-60, the Minutemen in front. 11:19 to go in regulation time, and fresh off the bench, Banks hands it off up top for Parker. Now it's Carbucci on the left wing. Stutters to the top of the key. Feeds to the elbow. Hankins Sanford working against Elmer. Pushes inside. Floats it over the top. Gets a bad bounce. Rebound snared by the RedHawks. And it's Suter across the timeline on the right wing. Suter shimmies around a screen on the right side. Throws his head back. Swings it for Elmer. Straight away, Elmer trying to go through the lane, and a crowded lane at that. He lost the ball and he fouled Hankins Sanford, who scooped up the loose ball, and Ian Elmer's a little bit shaken up for Miami. His teammates help him to his feet. That is the, I believe, just second foul, and indeed it is, on the RedHawks in this half. UMass has already put Miami in the bonus with 7. Second foul individually on Elmer, and that gives it back to UMass up 3 with just over 10 minutes to play. Carbucci waves for help up top. Lines it for Banks, who works his way back top of the key. Now it's Parker, shot fake on the left wing. Back for Carbucci in his same spot. Works off a screen left. Pump fakes an entry pass. Handoff up top goes to Parker. 7 on the shot clock. Parker bounces it off. Hankins Sanford races into the paint, and a blocking foul called as he puts it up and count the bucket. And the RedHawk fans are not happy with that at all, and also not happy that that was a continuation, and that gives Hankins Sanford the finish and the foul.
Yeah, it looked like he ran an elbow right into the stomach of Kirby, and UMass gets the foul to go for them. And here we go. Big free throw coming up.
Hankins Sanford, former Gamecock, puts it up and leaves it short. And Elmer's got the rebound for Miami, and that keeps the lead at 5 for the Minutemen. They bring 2 into the front court to pressure, but Suter races right by him on the right wing, slings it Atlason between the circles 3. It's good! Atlason stares down the crowd. That is an enormous three-point shot to get Miami back within 2. Just 6 points for Atlason, but gives Suter his 7th assist. A C made with the left hand by Carbucci. Dribbles it slowly to the right side. Now he holds up 2 fingers. This place coming back to its feet. 12 on the shot clock. Carbucci up high right. Pump fakes, feeds, top of the key. Parker dribbling around. 6 on the shot clock. Finds Hankins Sanford. Steps back. Kirby plucked it away. Fadeaway 3 at the buzzer. Off the front iron, and the RedHawks have the rebound as Ian Elmer rips it away from Marcus Banks. Suter traverses ahead for Miami. Fakes the handoff. Heads down the right side. Shot fake. Lean in. Laid it up. Got fouled. It nearly went for him, but falls off the far side of the rim. Could have been an and one, potentially for the lead, but instead, Pete Suter's going to the free throw line, and that's the 3rd foul on Marcus Banks. And now UMass, who had spread their fouls out, is starting to spread out their foul trouble as 4 different Minutemen have picked up 3 fouls. Suter to the free throw line for 2. Right foot in front of left. He tosses up the first one. It's good. We have not been tied in this game since 0-0. 9:26 to play. UMass 65, Miami 64. Ball in Pete Suter's left hand. He bounces it 3 times, puts it up in the air and in. We are tied for the first time since tip. And now this place is into a frenzy. Carbucci down the left side. Bounces it for Hankins Sanford, short corner left. Rejects the handoff at the nail, slings it up top. Banks comes down with it, 12 on the shot clock. Way up high to the right. Banks makes his way to the logo, 9 on the timer. Logo 3, rattles out, but an offensive rebound for Beniel, and he puts it back in. That went in and out, and a chance to silence the crowd, but then Beniel did just that, going back in to put UMass back in front. RedHawks break some pressure as Elmer gives a long pass across the timeline for Perry on the right wing. Now Miami settles with 8:41 to play. Elmer, left wing 3, bottoms! First lead since 2-0 for Miami with 8:33 to play. They're in front 68-67. Carbucci controlling up top. Pounds it on the deck with his left hand. Now switches to his right, back to his left. Hankins Sanford, left wing, lobs it in. Beniel all alone, up and under to put it in. RedHawk went down there in the paint, but Beniel again just wriggles free underneath and puts the Minutemen back in front. Elmer across for Perry. Back up top, it's Pete Suter with 8:03 to play in a 1-point ball game led by UMass. Suter, full head of steam, kick out, Perry, left wing three. In and out, but an offensive rebound for Suter. Out for Atlason, straightaway Trey, yes! Another one for Almar Atlason. All of his points from beyond the arc, he's got 9, 71-69 Miami. They've only led by as many as 2. Done it twice tonight. Carbuccia, meanwhile, get a screen set for him down the right side. Couldn't finish on the lay-in, but a foul on the putback as Bettiol tapped it back up. It didn't fall, but he's set to go to the free throw line for 2 shots on the other side of the break. Well, there are 9,000 plus referees in red that didn't like it, but they're not wearing stripes, and so they're rendered powerless, but they are still loving what they're seeing of late from their side on the floor. With 7:34 to go in the second half, the score, the RedHawks 71 and the Minutemen 69, and we're back to Millett Hall after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. If you ask the question, has Miami had an answer this year? It has always been yes. And the RedHawks, again, who trailed by as many as 10, trailed by 9 a few times, have rallied to take the lead for the first time since it was 2-0 late in this game. They're now up to 71-69, 7:34 to go. Swim team, Speedo clad behind the basket as Leonardo Beniol is at the free throw line. And the Italian is perfect on the first free throw. And just what a night for him. Andrew now up to 15 points, but 12 boards, and he does that with regularity. He's had 15, a career high twice this year.
He has been a beast inside the paint, generated a lot of second chance points, and he's taken advantage.
Second one up and in. And Bettiol ties the game back at 71. No reprieve from good rebounders for Miami between Buffalo, Kent State, and UMass.
Yep.
Back to back to back. 3 of the best teams in the MAC at rebounding the basketball. Suter brings it into the front court for Miami. Carbuccia all in his grills. Suter spins away from him, heads down the right side, stops in the short corner, gives it back out top. Woolfolk fakes the handoff straight away, now does give handoff. Elmer, 3 from the top. Wedges off the back rim, and the rebound into the arms of Hankins Sanford, who goes airborne. Carbuccia, scoop out. Hankins Sanford, top of the key. And now Banks steps around a couple defenders on the left wing. Can't tee up the three-point shot. Carbuccia again, corner of the M. Far side Banks, quick catch and shoot. Pops off. And Bettiol there for the rebound. And two hands on the basketball for both teams. And it's a tie-up. It stays with UMass. As Miami brings Brant Byers back onto the floor. But that officially goes down as the 13th rebound for Bettiol. And how about 8 of them coming on the offensive glass? Bettiol favoring his face a little bit. Officials had to break up he and Trey Perry, who were tied up, but they're doing all right. UMass needs to send a guy to go take this inbound, and they do send Marcus Banks under the basket, shadowed towards the far side. And he gives it out top for KJ Parker. Tied game with just under 7 to go. Bettiol from the MAC logo. Spins, bowls over Brant Byers, but tossed it too hard over the top. And the RedHawks have the rebound as the whistle stays around the neck. Suter down the right wing, no look pass. He gave it right into the arms of Hankins Sanford, looking to get tricky, hoping to find Elmer in the corner. Carbuccia now up ahead, backs it out. Finger wagged in a circle by UMass head coach Frank Martin. On the right wing, Parker back straight away for Hankins Sanford. Now it's Carbuccia, far side Banks, 3 up, 3 well short. He airballed it. UMass saying that may have been tipped, but it was the non-shooters on the floor, and Banks is saying it was not, and so that gives this Miami crowd some material, and it gives the RedHawks the ball back with 6:10 to play in a game tied at 71. The elite offense on display as Suter prods it into the corner for Justin Kirby. On the left wing, it is whipped back out top to Suter. Stumbles down the right side. Suter, backs edge of the lane. Up top for Byers. Quick sling. Near corner 3 for Kirby. Well short, but Woolfolk there for the offensive rebound and the slam. Woolfolk got some space there and punches it back down to put the RedHawks in front 73-71. 5:40 to play. Parker holding up top. Wants reinforcements left. He heads right off a screen set by Banks. Parker between the legs on the dribble at the wing. Up for Bettiol, just inside the arc. Tried to hand it off. Instead, he gives it for Hankins Sanford. Far short corner. Backing in towards the block. Lost it, regathers, rises and scores. 8-footer for Hankins Sanford. UMass has just looked so impressive with those shots off 2 feet tonight, and he's got 16. Back tied at 73 with 5:08 to play. Suter, waist-high pass for Woolfolk. He shovels it into the corner for Byers. Works down the baseline. Finds Elmer, who was fouled. He picked it back up off the floor and put it in. That would have been an easy bucket for him, but the foul is called. That does put him at the free throw line. Elmer trying to argue with the new rules. That should count, but that, I think, pushes things a little bit too hard as that ball was poked free. He picked it back up and then went to the rim. Kind of an unfortunate break for the foul call, though, for Miami, as Elmer got that ball back and would have had a wide-open layup if they played on. The good news for Miami is that's Jaden Jinge's 4th foul, and he takes a seat. Danny Carbuccia comes back onto the floor for UMass, and Elmer's pure on the front end of the one-on-one free throw to put Miami back in the driver's seat at 74-73. A tick over, 5 minutes remaining. RedHawks have the arrow, and both teams have all their 3 timeouts permissible to take into the second half. Elmer dribbles the ball once. Second free throw floated up and off the back iron, no good. Kirby got a hand on the rebound, but he crab walks backwards as Marcus Banks ends up with the board for UMass. 1-point lead for Miami. Carbuccia plays catch, and now it's into the arms of Marcus Banks. He goes out top for KJ Parker. Shot fake, put back on the deck. Airball chance all over as Banks cuts across the lane, fades away from the nail, and puts it in. Just another crowd silencing, tough jump shot for the Minutemen tonight. They're back in front, 75-74 with 4:26 to go.
Banks with 18 and 3 other Minutemen with 16 plus.
Woolfolk swings into the lane, got it, plus the foul. Spun downhill, got the contact, and an and one for Antoine Woolfolk. The foul goes against Hankins Sanford. He picks up his 3rd. Antoine Woolfolk's got 8 points. And he's got a chance to add to the Miami lead at the free throw line. That's currently at 1 with 4:20 to play. Woolfolk takes a breath. Second free throw, or rather, only free throw up and in over the front rim. It snuck its way through, and it's a 2-point Miami lead again. RedHawks have not led by more than 2 points in this game. But here we are again, 77-75 Miami leads, 4:10 to play. Banks up top, into the corner. Carbuccia catches with a leap, slashes across the lane, finds Hankin Sanford. Mac logo jumper, halfway down but not in. And the rebound pulled out by Brant Myers of Miami. Chance for the first 2-possession lead of the game for the RedHawks. Suter around a screen left. Spins, nearly sent Parker stumbling, but he's back tarping him. Now in the near wing, Elmer sheds the defender, pulls up from 10 and scores! Career high 26 for Ian Elmer. That's 2 games in a row, setting a career high in scoring. Timeout called by Frank Martin and UMass with 3:39 to go. Miami leads by 2 possessions for the first time tonight at 79-75.
This place is coming alive inside Millett Hall. The RedHawks 4-point lead. Final media timeout. Ian Elmer having himself a career night, like Luke just mentioned, and the RedHawks on a 5-0 run in their last minute of action. So everything is going well for the RedHawks right now, but still got to close it out and end on the finishing touches.
Miami on a 5-0 run. UMass still has 2 timeouts remaining. This chess match just continues. For the RedHawks, they've now scored 100 points or more in 3 straight MAC games for the first time since 2002. They have back-to-back overtime wins for the first time in 11 years. RedHawks hope they could score 100 again, but would prefer for this game not to head into the extra period with a 2-possession lead. Just some enormous basketball being played by this team, though, over the last couple of weeks. They've cracked into the AP polls for the first time since the days of our pregame guest, Wally Zerbiak. Miami is just 5 wins away from their mark they set last year at 25 wins, which was the most in program history. And what a job Travis Steele has done. He's approaching 150 wins. But right now, all focus on this game, the late tip. And this is, again, the first time that Miami's been on national TV at home this season, but it will not be the last. At the very least, RedHawks will be back here against Ohio on Valentine's Day, February 14th, to take on the Bobcats of Ohio. And again, that game's been picked up for national TV. I should say that game was scheduled for February 14th. It's been flexed to the Friday night slot on ESPNU. 8 p.m. tip on February 13th. And gotta admit, Andrew, the athletic department was hyping up. Normally they put up curtains and they tarp off the upper bowl. And the lower bowl's been packed this year. You give a lot of credit. And you figured that the crowd would be bigger with students coming in, but everybody was saying the crowd on Saturday is going to be big. It's going to be big on Saturday, and this crowd has certainly delivered. Over 9,000 in the house here tonight. It's going to be fully sold out on Saturday, and the energy has just been unbelievable in this place. And the first game at home for the Miami RedHawks with students back in the building since way back on December 6th. That was exam week against the Maine Black Bears, and at the time, Miami only had a handful of wins to their name. They're now 20-0. They're ranked in the polls. They got a 4-point lead on UMass, looking to finish the job with 3:39 to play.
Yeah, that was also during the MAC championship, so this is going to be a huge stretch for the RedHawks here at home, and we'll see if this Miami basketball team can give their fans something to be happy about.
All eyes on Millett Hall tonight. UMass on the offensive end. Danny Carbuccia dribbles it waist high, 18 on the shot clock, feeds it far wing. KJ Parker drove in, backed it out to the edge. Back up top, it's Banks, circles the paint, leans in, fades away from 10, clunked it off the back rim, and Justin Kirby's got the rebound for Miami, who settles it down for Pete Suter to bring it into the front court.
Kirby up to 7 rebounds, leads the team.
Huge for the guard. Suter, far short corner. Bounces it high right for Brant Byers and has it back on a handoff. 12 on the timer, 3 minutes to play. Suter down the center of the paint, stops at the nail, back out right wing. Byers diagonally into the paint, threw it off a hand there of Parker and out of bounds. Looking to get it to the corner. 5 left on the shot clock. Probably fortunate that took a deflection there. It would have been intercepted going the other way for UMass. Miami instead gets a media timeout to talk over this inbounds play with 5 left on the shot clock and a 4-point lead. We'll take one final break. 2:55 remaining in the second half with the score Miami 79 and UMass 75. 5 seconds left on a RedHawk possession when we return to Millett Hall. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. .255 remaining, second half with the score Miami 79 and UMass 75. After a deflection out of bounds by the Minutemen, it's Miami basketball from the near side baseline. 5 left on the shot clock. Little game reset here, 79-75 Miami. Redhawks are in the double bonus as UMass has 10 fouls, Miami with just 4. 2 timeouts left for the Minutemen, 3 for the Redhawks, and Miami has the arrow. Inbounds play coming up for Miami. Again, they've only got 5 seconds left on this possession. Elmer set to take it, guarded by Banks. Slings it over the top. Suter with the catch. Fade away from the block. Off the window. Doesn't go, but a late foul call. And that puts Pete Suter on the free throw line. And the foul goes against Carbuccia, and that's his 3rd. And Pete Suter at the line to shoot 2 for Miami. And Suter now makes the first one and is 5 of 5 from the line tonight. He's an assist away from a double-double, 11 points and 9 assists, 5 boards for Pete Suter. Second free throw, a little bit of a line drive, but it hits off the back rim and in. Travis Steele's into a squat. He is clapping his hands, imploring his team. 6-point lead for Miami, 2:47 to play. Carbuccia cuts left and right. Back up to the top for Parker. And a foul on the inside. There was tons of contact in the paint there. And the foul is against Suter. Just his 2nd and the 5th foul. So 1 more to give for Miami with 2:42 to play. .21 on the shot clock for UMass, and Marcus Banks set to inbound it. He's got a team-high 18 points. The game's leader in scoring, Ian Elmer with a career-high 26. Inbound comes up top. It was Bettiol, then it was Parker, now it's Carbuccia. Back for Parker on the far side. Gets past his defender, slows up though, kicks out. Hankins Sanford, wide open 3. Pops out. Byers has the rebound. 2 hands on the basketball for Banks. And now those two jawing at each other. And I believe they called a jump ball there. They may have gotten a technical foul, though, as Brant Byers is pleading his case. Meanwhile, this Miami crowd is just all over Marcus Banks from one missed 3-point shot. He has cooled down significantly, as this UMass team has in the second half. They're now 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. So it looks like they got a jump ball and called offsetting technical fouls. And so that's Byers' second. And that should be the 4th on Banks. And Greg Crawford shares his thoughts right in front of us. 2:28 to go in the game. Miami by 6. It should be RedHawk basketball here, I believe, and it is. And again, they haven't put it in the stats program yet. For Byers, he picks up the tech foul. And for Banks, he picks it up as well.
It's a huge possession going Miami's way in. It's getting chippy. Makes perfect sense in a physical and raucous environment like this one.
So it's Miami basketball. This is an inbound for the Arrow here as it's inserted to Pete Suter. UMass picks up pressure. Miami breaks it as Suter finds Elmer up ahead. Down the center of the paint. Elmer got stuffed up top, but a foul called. I think they got Bettiol there. And they did. And so the UMass big picks up his 4th. And now this foul trouble is becoming a serious, serious problem. I beg your pardon. That's rather just the 3rd on Bettiol as that sends Ian Elmer to the stripe. His first free throw clangs off the back iron. No good. He claps his hands in frustration. Still a 6-point lead for Miami with 2:23 to go. Jaden Jingay comes off. KJ Parker comes back on for UMass. He's got 7 points. He's played 23 minutes. Ian Elmer, meanwhile, a game-high 37 minutes, game-high 26 points, make it 27 as he gets a friendly roll on the second free throw. Biggest lead of the game for Miami at 7, 2:20 to play. 82-75, the RedHawks in front. Screen off right for Carbuccia. Heads back to the court center. Crossover dribble. Bullet pass for Bettiol up top. Barrels down the middle of the paint. Floats it up. Gets fouled. Luckily for Miami, that rolled off the rim. But the MAC logo floater there puts Bettiol on the free throw line. That's just the first foul, believe it or not, on Antoine Woolfolk. Phenomenal job by a guy that has had a history of getting in foul trouble for Miami, of just not being a part of it here tonight. First free throw for Bettiol up and through the nylon. That cuts the lead to 6 with 2:07 to play. 82-76 Miami as Bettiol's got 17. His career high 32, which came against Bowling Green in an overtime loss back in early January. Bettiol's second shot up and perfect right through the middle of the netting to trim the lead back to 5. UMass has gone ice cold from the field, but some free throws will help with that. And UMass picks up some pressure as Atlason inbounds for Suter. He's immediately doubled, releases off for Atlason on the left wing. Up ahead, Elmer with the catch. Shy of the midcourt stripe. 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Elmer gets it across in the nick of time. 1 second remaining. He feeds it for Suter, who almost went out of bounds with it in the far corner. Somehow in the scramble, Miami ends up with the ball in the half court. Suter fades away, long 2 from the far side. In and out. And the rebound picked up by Bettiol. He got tangled up with Atlason, and Atlason's called for the foul. And a 1-and-1 coming up for Bettiol as Atlason picks up his 4th.
Yeah, that's one for Elmer that you just got to let go. I mean, that's just a tough spot to be in the bonus right now.
And along the offensive glass as well, Atlason really the only RedHawk in foul trouble. Justin Kirby's got 3, but Atlason the only Miami player with 4. 1-and-1 for Bettiol. He takes an extra second, dribbles the ball one more time for good measure. First one up, first one perfect for Bettiol. UMass now 9 for 13 at the free throw line. Miami 24 out of 32. And UMass, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the entire country, as the second one goes up and in for Bettiol. And that gets the lead back down to 3 as he crosses the 20-point mark. And hasn't been great at the line for UMass tonight, but 71% will suffice enough. It suffices enough for now to keep them within a possession. Minute 46 to play. Pressure going to be picked up again by UMass. as the ball is inserted back in with 1:43 to go, and the RedHawks leading by 3. Suter shoulders his way up the floor. Banks backing off of him. Now the double team comes, and he bounce passes it, wrapping around the pressure to Elmer across the timeline on the right wing. Miami holding on. High right side, Elmer with 90 seconds to play. Comes around a screen set by Suter. Downhill, tosses it up, in and out, but gets the foul. Oh, that would have been a circus shot for Ian Elmer had it dropped. But the foul goes against Banks, and that's his 5th foul, and he's done for the night. And that is a major blow for UMass as their second leading scorer in the game is done. Banks only trails Bettiol by less than a point in terms of points per game this year. He trails him only by 2 points in this game for the UMass lead. But he has fouled out, and Ian Elmer's at the free throw line and buries the first to make it a 2-possession lead once again at 83-79. 1:26 to play. Possession arrow in favor of UMass. Miami with 3 timeouts. UMass with 2. Elmer clings the ball to his left hip, puts it up in the air, well short, and the rebound falls out to Bettiol to pick up board number 15. Across the timeline down the middle, Carbuccia pounding the ball on the deck with his right hand, feeds it for Jinge, who stumbled for a second, nearly turned it over, but finds Bettiol down the center of the paint. Bettiol gets by everybody for an easy lay-in, cuts the lead to 2. Timeout UMass with 70 seconds remaining in the ballgame.
I mean, Bettiol cannot be stopped on the inside. I'm surprised we haven't seen more double teams against him. He's simply unstoppable inside the paint. 7 for 11, 22 points, 15 boards, having himself a career night here inside Millett Hall, and back to a 2-point game. These Minutemen don't quit.
UMass has given Miami everything they can handle. They are unbeaten against Miami all time. These two teams played a home-and-home in 2013 and 2014. They won a 1-point game in 2013. And then ended up cruising to a win in 2014. And again, they're perfect against Miami all time, but RedHawks will have to get used to these Minutemen. They're in the MAC for good now after serving some time as an affiliate member just for football, then departing completely. Now they're back for everything. The women's team took down a UMass squad that was projected to be one of the best in the league pretty comfortably here inside this building earlier this month. It has been anything but comfortable, though, for Miami tonight. This has been a really admirable road performance from this Minutemen team, who are just 2-3 on the road in true road games this year. They've played a whole lot of neutral site games. 83-81, Miami leads. 1:10 to play. RedHawks inbounding under their own basket. Miami in the double bonus, UMass in the single. Minutemen pick up the pressure. Perry gets loose and gets the inbound for Miami. He immediately goes back for Ian Elmer, who dribbles it between his legs and picks up speed down the right side across the timeline. Now he pulls up and gives it back up top for Antoine Woolfolk. Woolfolk with a man in his face, hands it off for Elmer, high right. Pass across, high left for Perry. Short pass down the middle for Pete Suter with 10 on the timer. Under a minute to play. Suter dribbles it down the right side. Picks up his dribble at the second hash, looking for an option, finds Elmer up top. He lost his shoe. He couldn't pull the trigger on a shot. Perry's got to get one up at the buzzer and can't hit the rim. And that is the worst time for something like that to happen for Miami, as Elmer blew a tire, would have had a wide open 3 from the top of the key. Probably lucky he didn't get called for a travel there. Maybe he got the benefit of the doubt losing his shoe. But the RedHawks end up committing a shot clock violation as they just played hot potato with it at the end of the timer. 38.8 seconds to go. And UMass can tie or take the lead, down 83-81. Carbuccia on the inbound. He jogs it up the court, switching dribbles from left to right. Now down the middle, Hankins Sanford. Jinge, high left, finds Parker, steps back, pulls the trigger on a 3. It rattles off. Rebound battled for. Elmer's got it, and a foul called. 23.4 seconds remain. Double bonus free throws upcoming for Miami. And Jaden Jinge is called for the foul in the pile. And again, a worst case scenario for UMass. That foul probably could have gone against 2 or 3 different Minutemen. And instead, Jingay is done for the game. So UMass brings Isaiah Plaxid off his seat and back up. And now Ian Elmer takes double bonus free throws with 23.4 seconds to go.
Got to make both of these if you're Elmer. He split the trip a few times, but need to make them both here.
First one up and in for Ian Elmer. He was just 4 of 8 prior to that last shot. That at least ensures you can't lose it on one shot unless you foul. Second one, a big one. Could make it 2 possessions for Elmer. Pulls his left foot back, puts it up and through. Timeout called by Travis Steele in Miami. 30-second timeout. They've got 2 remaining. 23.4 seconds to go. Miami 85, UMass 81. Minutemen set to inbound it under their basket. These teams no stranger to playing in games like this. UMass snuck out of Buffalo with a 1-point win. Very well documented what Miami's had to do to come away with wins in each of their last 2 games. A Luke Skaljack lay-in at the buzzer, or just before, to send it to overtime against Kent State. And then a double buzzer beater against Buffalo. One at the end of regulation by Ian Elmer. One just before the conclusion of overtime by Pete Suter. That won the RedHawks the game. These teams are extremely comfortable in close games down the stretch like this. 2 of the older teams in the conference. The 5th-year senior Leonardo Bettiol clapping his hands as he heads down to take the inbound for UMass. Shot clock dark, they trail by 4. 23.4 seconds to go. Bettiol inbounds it for Massachusetts. Carbuccia brings it into the front court on the right wing. Cuts it across to the left side. Carbuccia shimmies backward with 15 to go. Down the middle, Plaxid holding on to it. Tarped, he's got to get rid of it. He finds Parker, works his way through. Put up a shot, got fouled on a 3. The shot didn't even come close, but Kirby just got too close to the shooter there. And Miami fouls on a 3-point shot with 8.8 seconds to go. And it sends KJ Parker, who, get this, is a 95% free throw shooter, to the line.
Guess the good news is a lot of time went off, but still, this is a dangerous free throw shooter.
Parker had just 2 last game. Tosses the first one up, he drains it. It was his worst shooting game since December 22nd against UMass Boston. But Parker has rebounded nicely with 8 points here tonight. Second one up and in. And these are not even grazing the rim for KJ Parker. Leads down to 2. Trey Perry comes back on for Justin Kirby. 8.8 seconds remain. Miami's got to get it in. UMass will likely have to foul. First, we have to see what happens on this free throw. Parker airmails the free throw. It's in. 1 point Miami lead. Woolfolk off. Atlason on for the RedHawks with 8.8 to go. 85-84. Suter, the inbounder for Miami. They've still got 2 timeouts. Suter runs the baseline, puts it in for Trey Perry, holding on to it, back to Suter. 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds to go, and finally UMass fouls. Carbuccia fouled him. Pete Suter on to take the free throws for Miami, leading by 1 with 4.3 seconds remaining. Suter on the year, 72%. Suter dribbles the ball, puts it in. He's 7 of 7 from the line. But a timeout called to ice him by Frank Martin. That was an important free throw, but this next one, much more important for Suter as he tries to extend the lead to 3. 4.3 seconds remaining. Treated to probably a decade's worth of memorable Miami basketball games over the last couple of weeks, and this has certainly been one of them. You've got all sorts of possibilities here. On a miss, things could get crazy. On a make, Miami's got the option to foul. Again, maybe with new rules, you don't necessarily want to do that like you would have as a no-brainer in years past. If you're not aware, they've given a little more leeway for continuation on shots for fouls to be called. So you used to be able to foul up 3, put the other team on the line for bonus shots, and ensure you get the ball back still leading. But now it's gotten a lot easier to kind of draw in some contact, flail at the rim after the contact comes, and still earn a trip to the free throw line. But that possibility only comes into play if Suter makes this free throw. Teams break huddle. Referees making sure they are lining everybody up quickly and lining everybody up in the right spots along the lane. Suter takes a breath. Ball in his hand, shot in the air. It rattles out. Rebound, tapped out. UMass has got it. 2 seconds and 1 half court heave. Plaxid, it's off! Well, we knew it could get crazy, and the rebound fell to UMass, and they ran it out. Plaxid heaved it up from half court at the buzzer, missed it off left. And another one by the skin of the RedHawks' teeth, by the skin of the beak. Miami is 21-0. They're 9-0 in league. They extend school records for their best start to a season, the best start for a MAC team in a season. School record home win streak. They've now won 27 in a row inside this place. But again, they are pushed to the absolute limit by one of the top teams in league. UMass showed the A10 talent that they've had on their roster has made its way into the MAC, but that is a big-time win for Miami in front of a big-time crowd, and just great on a lot of fronts for this RedHawk team to fight through without Luke Skaljak, to trail in this game by as many as 10 with 2 minutes in that first half, to really feel like you were up against it and to battle back. Looked like maybe you had a chance to run away by 2, 3, 4 possessions towards the end there. You never really could do it, but you hung on when it matters most. You miss another free throw at the very end, which kept the game in contention into the final shot. But a miracle heave falls short for UMass. And just can't believe that this is real when you look up at the scoreboard, look down at your sheet, and now you see that Miami's 21-0.
Yeah, unreal. The RedHawks hit blackjack 21-0, and they stay perfect. Only Arizona and Miami are undefeated. I mean, the RedHawks made a great adjustment in the second half. They limit UMass shooting 2 for 10 from deep after a scorching hot 7 for 11 from deep and a 47-point first half effort. And honestly, that was a pretty good look from Plaxid, coming in a 39% three-point shooter, but just a really another gritty and a really nice win for Miami. And, I mean, what a game for Ian Elmer. 30 points, 7 rebounds, an assist, and 2 steals for him. He's probably the player of the game, but shout out to Justin Kirby, who's made up a lot of lost minutes from Evan Ipsarl, the injury for him, and Luke Skaljak. Not seeing him tonight, but it's just next man up mentality for the RedHawks. Coach Steele has talked about how each team is going to give Miami their best shot, and the RedHawks win another one against a really tough UMass team who we might see in the MAC tournament.
UMass falls to 4-6 in the MAC, 13-9 overall. Then Miami 21-0 and 9-0 in the Mid-American Conference. Just shake your head. Again, it doesn't feel real sometimes, and in the way that they've done it, it just keeps coming down to the final possession. And there's some that argue that teams aren't meant to win this way that many times, but it's just been that kind of year for Miami this season. No overtime this time, finally. We almost got there, but the RedHawks hang on in regulation and come from behind to beat UMass by a final score of 86-84. First win against UMass all time for Miami, and the RedHawks now shift their attention to Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, we will be on the air for a much-anticipated doubleheader. How about giving some love to the Miami women's basketball team? Glenn Box has done a tremendous job, and the RedHawks face their biggest test of the season over the weekend against the perennial league favorite Ball State, and Miami battered the Cardinals in their home gym 72-52 to stay undefeated in the MAC. They're now 8-0 solo atop the league, and they will take on Northern Illinois tomorrow. But talking about that doubleheader, kicks off on Saturday with Miami women's basketball. Coverage will begin here on our airwaves at 12:30 for the RedHawk women against the Ohio Bobcats in the Battle of the Bricks. women's basketball style, and we will wrap up the day with Miami men's basketball. 3:30 p.m. start, or 30 minutes after the women's game concludes, whichever comes later for the Miami men, as they will see the first of the Northern Illinois Huskies. The initial meeting between those two teams this season in the final season for Northern Illinois, who will depart the MAC in basketball and all non-football sports for the Horizon League coming up in the future. Well, we thank you for tuning in. Again, check in with us on Saturday, 12:30 start to our coverage, 1 o'clock women's tip, 3:30 men's tip for some Miami basketball. And we will have post-game coverage for you to put a bow on this one here tonight on the other side of the break with Gavin Stark and Jake Zarali. So for my partner, Andrew Elvis, and our RedHawk Radio crew, Luke West-Pulley signing off from an absolute madhouse inside Millette tonight. RedHawks winners over UMass 86-84, and 24th ranked Miami lives to fight another day amongst the final two undefeateds in the nation. Thanks for tuning into this presentation of Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. Post-game show coming up next.
$21-0, the RedHawks, the final two undefeated teams in the NCAA men's basketball. Unbelievable stuff here inside of a jumpin' Millette Hall tonight. Gavin Stark alongside Jake Zaroli, and I've gotten last names mixed up.
That's all right. Keep it going.
But this team just continues to just impress.
They really do. I mean, the fight that this team sheds, it's honestly unbelievable. That game was yet another one that just went back and forth and back and forth. There was a time when Miami was up 7, was it? They were up,
yeah.
Well, it might have been 82-75. We thought they had it locked up. UMass went down, got some rebounds, got some clutch buckets. Bettiol put the team on his back there for a few minutes there, got himself a few buckets. He ended the day with 22 points of his only leading scorer. For the Minutemen, it got close down there, and this place went from holding its breath to exploding in a matter of seconds all throughout the end of that second half. It really was just an electric atmosphere. And as I mentioned earlier in the pregame, my freshman year here, this is just such a great way to really get introduced to a full Millette Hall. We haven't really seen one yet so far this year. The students are back. This team is back. They're 21-0, and they are feeling great going into the second half of this MAC schedule.
Yeah, I mean, second year here, so I mean, I can speak the same as you.